The Pirate Queen is not what I expected. I went into it knowing that it was less of a game and more of a virtual experience, but somehow I still had it wrong in my head. It's won several awards, but not for the most action-packed thriller. Let's break this down. The Pirate Queen is based on the pirate queen Cheng Shih, who was a pirate leader in the very early 1800s. A great one, apparently. This game was meant to take you through her story and experience what she experienced, and it does it really well. But I think VR enthusiasts that enjoy apps like the Anne Frank House or other historical experiences might enjoy this more than your casual gamer. I'm not saying it's not good, I'm just saying that if you have visions of getting to relive the exploits of the Pirates of the Caribbean, you'll be severely disappointed. Let me know in the comments if that's what you were hoping this game was. Let's start off by talking about the game's strengths, and then we'll move on to some of my biggest issues. Its biggest strength is the story. I knew nothing about Cheng Shih, at least I don't remember learning about her. Her story is truly inspiring, suspenseful, and since it takes place in a historical Chinese setting, it makes me feel like I've truly gone back to a time I otherwise could not have visited. The game enlightened me to many different things. For one thing, I always knew about the ancient practice of the bounding of Chinese women's feet, but they show you that she was lucky enough to not have that happen, allowing her to have an active future.
A lotus shoe for bound feet. Ooh, what a horror.
I also was absolutely amazed to see the aquatic cities around their pirate ships. All these little houses floating together, and she mentions how the maze constantly changes as they move around. I never knew anything about that. Let me know in the comments if an interesting story is enough of an experience to be worth it. If you're a graphics person, you'll be pleased to know that the graphics are great. Sometimes. Other times, they're just pitiful. For example, look at these crates. Then, look at the cloth draped over these crates. Or how about how detailed these hands are with such focus on realism? Oh, hey there, potato fish. Some things look great and others just don't. It's not really an overall great or horrible look. I would say that I found myself enjoying most of the environments, however. It was one of the few things that helped me feel immersed. Speaking of which, let's talk about some of the things that killed the immersion for me. Number one, she kept talking to the gamer like I was a separate person.
What are you doing? There are guards outside.
This kind of confused me. I kept wondering if I'd missed something and I was someone else. It definitely killed the feeling of being Cheng Shih. Another thing I didn't like is how the screen would go dark if you got too close to anything, I guess. I also experienced several glitches or possibly just jankiness. There was a section when I had to cut fish and I needed the pieces, but when I would cut, they would fly everywhere and disappear. Also had a book go flying when I was trying to set it down. Another time, a key glitched and wouldn't open the door. The only fix was to shut the game down and play that part again. Those are just minor annoyances. The biggest glitch was the black screen. The first one happened only minutes after starting up. I tried to drink a bottle and the screen, it just went black. The fix? Restart the app. This happened to me like 3 more times. I started to get a little irritated, obviously. The controls weren't perfect either. Let's start with the sitting mode. They clearly wanted this to be a game that a new VR user could use. So naturally, there's a sitting mode, but there seems to be no crouching button. So if something falls on the floor, you're out of luck. Unless there is one and I just missed it. If you're an avid VR user and don't want a snap turn, then you can use smooth turning. Or should I say, the slowest smooth turning I have ever experienced. There seems to be no adjustment for it either. I almost got motion sickness just because my body knew I could turn faster. Maybe use a swivel chair if you have the space. If you're on a couch, rowing the boat can be a challenge, as you first have to pick up the oars, which are very low. I would equate the actual gameplay as very much like an escape room. There are puzzles to solve and clues to find to get to the next section, but nothing is too intense. Though I've only played half the game up to this point, I have a feeling that that's not going to change too much. Most of the time, you're given lots of information as you find things, which adds to the story in a very engaging way. I did, however, quit on a section where I was shooting cannons. It got old and never seemed to end. I was wondering if I was doing something wrong, but when I went to ring the little bell for clues, it said to keep doing what I was doing. I could see a non-gamer being very confused or bored with that part, which is kind of unfortunate because that seems to be the kind of person they're aiming this game at. So the big question is this game for you? If it is, I have a 25% discount in the description. I've played many games that I won't come back to because they're just not for me. This isn't really a game though. I kind of want to see what happens next and how it happens. I think the Pirate Queen will be a great game to play when I just want to relax but don't want to completely veg out and watch TV like a zombie. Otherwise, if you really don't think this is for you, watch one of my other videos. I'm sure you'll find something you like.